little bit of pressure in there. Hey, good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to the Mitsubishi Montero channel. As you saw by the intro, we are going to talk about the fuel system on the Montero. It's going to be a very special video. You don't want to miss it. Before we get to that, though, I would like to say thank you for all of you guys who are new subscribers who are watching the video. Please like and share this video if you're watching right now. Also, if you're watching the video and you're not subscribed to the channel, just go ahead and subscribe. What's the big deal, right? Just do it. Anyway, so greatly appreciate it if you do. So in this video, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the fuel system on the Montero. The fuel system on the Montero, it's just like any multi-port fuel injection system. It's got the high pressure fuel line, and then it's got the fuel pressure regulator and the return line. And there is if you want to check the fuel pressure on the Montero, it's not the easiest thing to do, because first of all, you need an adapter that goes where the high pressure line connects to the fuel rail, and then it's that's where you connect your gauge. But I remember growing up working on cars when I was younger, like in the 90s and stuff like that, late 2000s or early 2000s. I remember, and even going back to, I used to have a 1986 Mercury Cougar, and even that car had it. And what I'm talking about is especially the Fords, they have on the fuel rail, they have a test port, a fuel pressure gauge test port, where when you have to check the fuel pressure on those particular vehicles, you just grab your gauge, hook it up to the test port, and check your reading. And it's very simple. And then the test port, you just got a little cap, you just cap it off and just forget about it. So I'm going to try to adapt that on the Montero. Like I said, the Fords had it. I think some GM vehicles had it too. And I forget what other vehicles had it, but most vehicles do not have it. And you have to have a special adapter to hook up your fuel pressure gauge. And so on the Montero, the same thing. The adapter that you need for the Montero, it's like $100, a little more than $100. It's like an OTC tool. Of course, unless you have the factory tool, which if you work at a dealer, maybe you have one or you can get one from them. But I'm gonna try to make it so that the Montero has a little test port where you can just tap in your fuel pressure gauge and check the fuel pressure. These are the materials that I'm gonna use to put that adapter on there, and I'll demonstrate here real quick. So I'm gonna use this this T here. And you can get these at pretty much any hardware store with these little adapters where you hook up the hoses. So I'm just going to assemble it just real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So this T is going to go on there. And then I got this little test port from Amazon, and I'll put the link on the description. So if anybody wants to grab one of these, it was like 14 bucks or something like that. But it comes with this little cap. And so this is what I'm gonna adapt on the Montero. It's got a little test port here, so whenever you're gonna check the fuel pressure, remove the cap, check the fuel pressure right there. So this little adapter comes with this little adapter here. So it comes like this, right? But I'm sorry, not that one, this one. This is the one that it comes with, like that. But this one does not fit on here on the T. It does fit, but it's too loose. You can't use it. It's just not the right measurement. It's not the right adapter, the right fitting for there. So you remove that part of it, and then you get one of these adapters where you hook up the little test port too. And then now this one fits, this fitting fits properly on the T. And now that's how it's going to be. So the hose is here, test port here. And what I'm going to do, and then obviously you have your hose clamps right here. I'm just going to do double hose clamps on each side, so it could be nice and secure. And also to seal the threads, you can use Teflon if you want, but there's also this other seal lock, Permatex seal lock, you can use on fuel lines and pretty much any kind of liquid line on your vehicle. You can use this, but I'm going to use that to seal the threads, make them very nice and tight and snug, and then we're going to put it on the vehicle, and then we'll show you that process. So yeah, so you just hook up your gauge and you test your fuel pressure using the gauge. I got this gauge. This is a cheapy gauge. I got it from O'Reilly's. It's a kit that they have there. It's only like 52 bucks, but I do have a better one. I have a professional Blue Point one. But it still does the job. The point of doing this is to demonstrate that it doesn't have to cost a lot of money or have sophisticated tools or anything like that to just do a basic fuel pressure test on your Montero, and then adapting a system to make it much easier to do so. So that's pretty much the point of this video. It's just to make it easier to test the fuel pressure on the Montero. Now, if you remember my previous video where I talk about the no start condition, the no start scenarios on the Montero, one of the scenarios is no start due to no fuel. And in that scenario, you would want to check the fuel pressure, obviously. So this would come in handy if it works. Honestly, guys, I'm still not even sure if it's going to work or not. I don't know if I'm going to have leakage or the hose clamps are not going to hold properly. I don't know. But I do know that it's just a regular multi-point fuel injection system, and it works maybe anywhere between 35 and 45 psi depending on the driving conditions. Obviously, if you have lower vacuum to the fuel pressure regulator, the fuel pressure goes up a little bit. But I'm thinking it'll work. It's not like a super high pressure system. It should work. Let's try it out and we'll learn if it does or not. All right, let's move forward. And just kind of going back to the test port here. So once you have your test port, it's very simple. You know, it's gonna be under the hood. You get your fuel pressure gauge. You connect to your test port here, like that, and then you can just check the fuel pressure. Very simple, super simple. Just like some of the old Ford vehicles and some of the other old GM vehicles had. I'm not 100% sure if the new cars have it, but I'm pretty sure they do, because it's actually a pretty good idea. Why not have a test port, right? I mean, the AC lines have it. The high and the low side on the AC system has where you can hook up your test equipment and whatnot. So why not have the same thing for the fuel pressure? And so, all right, so let's go ahead and move forward. I'm going to go ahead and seal these up, and we'll go from there. All right, so we got all the fittings assembled here. We got the sides here and then the top. So this is the final product that's going to go on the hose, on the high pressure hose on the Montero. So let's go ahead and do that now. Basically, at this point, we have to cut this hose and put that fitting on there. But before we do that, this is under high pressure right now. So we have to remove the pressure from this hose so we can cut it and put the fitting on there. Now I can just crack open the line, it'll leak a little bit of fuel and that'll relieve the pressure, but I don't want to do that. The proper way to do that is to remove the fuel pump fuse, start the engine for a little while, and then until it runs out of gas, and then you can cut the hose. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now remember, if you remember from my previous video, from my fuel pump diagnosis video, this is the fuse that we need to remove. I'll point it out here. So here at the fuse box, this is the fuse that we have to, I can't see it very well, but yeah, so this fuse here, so we can use the little tool that comes here and pull the fuse out. This guy right here, leave it to the side there for a little while. So now we're going to start the engine, and it should run for a little while, and then it's going to shut off because it's going to run out of fuel pressure. So let's do that now. There, ran out of fuel pressure and the engine shut off. Camera also fell. All right, so now we have to cut the line. Now we have to cut this hose right here. I'm trying to set up the camera a little bit better so you can see. So this is the fuel pressure hose right here. So it has like a little sleeve, like a little foam cover. You can probably see it here. So maybe I'll cut a little bit of that off. There. So now I expose this little section here, which is where around the area where the fitting's gonna go. Now here's the moment of truth. I gotta cut this line right here. Let me get the adapter, because I may have to do two cuts, one here and one over here, so it could fit right in there. Let's see here. So maybe a little bit more. So we want to cut. All right. Maybe just a little bit more. So I'll cut right here. Oh fuck. Shit. Still had a little bit of pressure in there. Oh, damn it. Oh, wow. Alright. Hey, guys. Things happen sometimes. Don't even sweat it. Alright. So this is it. This hose, there's no going back now. This hose is cut. Now let me cut another section on this side. Maybe like right there. There. Okay. Now we want to put the fitting on there, but let me get the hose clamps first. So this probably there we go. So it could be a little bit of a cleaner cut right there. Just slide it up a little bit more. Okay, so there. Okay, so put these hose clamps on there like this, and then put the fitting in there all the way. There we go. Same thing with this side. Same thing here. All the way. So there, see? That's how it's gonna end up, like that. All right, so now I'm gonna tighten these hose clamps and say a little prayer. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's pretty tight. Okay, now we have to start the engine and check for leaks. I'm gonna remove this little cap here. I'm gonna put the camera on this angle so you can see better. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna put the fuse back on, and we're gonna start the engine, see what happens. All right, so I'll probably align these up a little bit better later, but so it's gonna stay like right there. I'll zip tie it like this, and that'll be our fuel pressure test port. All right, let's go start the engine. There we go, engine's running. I don't see any leaks at all. Everything seems to be working as planned. There. So now, again, fuel pressure test port. It's gonna be like right there. I may move it facing down because I don't want it to hit the top of the hood, even though I don't think it will. But I may turn it so it can be like sideways here. But at least now we know everything's good. There's no leaks, and we can go in here and have our fuel pressure test port. Obviously, if I push on this Schrader valve, it's gonna shoot fuel, so don't want to do that. It already happened to me once. All right, so let me go ahead and shut the engine off. All right, guys, so what I did is loosened it a little bit and just moved it so the port can be facing downward rather than up, because again, I don't want it to hit the hood. So what I'll do is I'll zip tie it here as as it's going to end up as the final product, and let me do that now. All right, battery died on the GoPro, but anyway, this is how it's gonna end up. Look how cool it looks. Check it out. So, want to test the fuel pressure? Boom, here's the test port right there. All right, so why don't we try it out? You guys want to try it out? Yeah, let's try it out. Okay, return line, let's do it. Okay. All right, guys, I dropped the little cap, the little test port cap, so it went right in between, like right here. Here's the battery, so like right in there. I can see it, so I'm going to use this handy dandy tool that pretty much everybody has in their toolbox but never ever uses it until a situation like this happens. So it's one of those things where you press and then you release and it grabs whatever. So let's try that. Got it. There it is. Got it. Now right now we know that the system is under pressure, right? So we remove our test port, put it right there. Let's put it over here so it won't fall. Now once I hook this up, I'm gonna get fuel because I'm gonna push on that Schrader valve, so the fuel's gonna come out. So maybe we can just wrap a towel around like this as we're hooking it up. That way it won't splash all over the place. There. So now we have the fuel pressure gauge hooked up, and fuel pressure gauge has a little pressure relief valve right here, so that when you're done checking it and you're disconnecting it, you won't get, you have the option of reducing the pressure when you're disconnecting it. So let's go ahead and start the engine now and check the fuel pressure. Okay, so we have 40 psi. Alright, so the fuel pressure specifications at idle is 38 psi, and with no vacuum to the fuel pressure regulator is 47 to 50. So right now we're at 40. We're at 40 psi, which is completely normal. Okay, now let's remove the vacuum line from the fuel pressure regulator and see what the fuel pressure does. Disconnect the vacuum line right there. Now we have 50 psi. See that? 50 psi, which is completely normal. It's completely normal. So let's reconnect the vacuum line, and now we go back to 40. Now there's one more pressure that we can check, and that's called, there's one more fuel pressure check, and that's called a deadhead fuel pressure. Basically, we're going to deadhead the fuel pump, and the way we do that is by pinching the return line. That puts the fuel pump under maximum force, and it makes it basically, since there's no return, it makes it generate a high pressure, and that way you'll know that the fuel pump is capable of producing that pressure. All right, so let's do that now. So this deadhead fuel pressure should go up to like 90 or something like that. So we can just pinch it right here. See that? It goes 70, about 70. So that's normal. It should go pretty high like that. Okay, so we're back to normal. Here's our fuel pressure, 40 psi. No leaks. Everything is functioning as planned. So now we have to disconnect our fuel pressure gauge. So let's shut the engine off. Now disconnect the fuel pressure gauge. And this should, another thing you can do is make sure that it holds pressure. If it bleeds down, then it could be a leaking injector. It could be the fuel pressure regulator diaphragm might not be working properly, or the little valve that it's got inside might not be working properly. So it should hold. It should hold fuel pressure for a good 10-15 minutes or more. So right now it's 30 something, 32 or something like that, and that's completely normal. So we know that all that stuff is okay. So now if we disconnect it right now, we're gonna get a splash of fuel, or a bunch of fuel coming out of this guy. So it's got this little pressure relief valve right here, where we can either put it to a container, or we can just put a shop towel like that, so we can relieve the pressure. So when we disconnect it, it won't splash all over the place. So let's do that now. I'll just put the shop towel here, and then relieve the pressure like that. Obviously a little bit of fuel's coming out, no big deal. There we go. And always when you're working with this stuff, always have a fire extinguisher ready to go, which I have multiple right there. Now we can disconnect it from here. See, even then there was a little bit of residual pressure in there. There, so now disconnect our gauge, set it down right there, get our little handy dandy cover, put it on there. Fuse box back on, get all our tools. Oh, I forgot to put this back on. This guy lives inside the toolbox, I mean inside the fuse box. Alright, get our tools out of the way. Alright guys, so this pretty much concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. As you can see, there's no leaks. System is operating flawlessly. Excuse me. So this is basically the final result. As you can see, it's pretty secure. There's no chance of this hitting the bottom of the hood up here, and it seems pretty secure to me. It's got the double clamps here. And it's really not that much pressure. I mean, it's 40 psi at idle, 50 psi when you accelerate, so it's not too bad. But at least now we have a little test port there, which is always very convenient. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions or anything like that, please let me know. Again, I will put the link in the bottom on the description of this video for that little adapter that I told you guys that I got. So if you want to do it on your Montero, I think it's a good idea. So please comment, let me know your thoughts, like my video, share it with your family members, and I greatly appreciate you guys as always. Have a blessed day, have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.